What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Singing the Tea. I'm your host, Dustin, singer, actor Lewis. You already know, sometimes we sing, sometimes we give you all of the reality TV tea, but it's always going to be what you want, and it's always going to be what you need. And listen, we have reached the end of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16. We have finally come to an end on this chapter of Atlanta Housewives. Although a lot of us have mixed emotions, we have mixed feelings about it, we got to see these ladies through, and I appreciate each and every one of y'all are going through this journey with me. But with that being said, if you are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell button, so when I do drop new content, you can always get those alerts, and you can be a part of the Singing the Tea fam over here. And for those who've been rocking with me from Married to Medicine for Potomac to just me throwing little ins and outs online, I appreciate y'all. But let's get into why y'all came here. I don't think I'm gonna keep y'all too long. The reunion didn't give us too much. This I say that, but we gonna hit the nail on the head at the top of this doggone thing here. So let's dive in, right? So we pick up with the Shamea and Porsha drama, right? Listen, we finally get what the tea was, or a portion of what the issue is between the two mamas, between Miss Diane and between Miss Shamea mama. I don't know her name, so she be Miss Shamea mama. Porsha says that the issue was apparently, now this is according to Porsha, so allegedly, allegedly what went on was the ladies, but the two mamas, they both own daycares. Porsha's mama's daycare went under foreclosure. Now, Porsha didn't say why it went in foreclosure. Porsha, you just said it just went in foreclosure like she just woke up one day and it was just like, oh girl, these people just put a notice on my door. What happened to get her in foreclosure? So start at the top. Start at the top and tell what's really going on. But what Porsha was saying was her mom's daycare went in foreclosure, and Shamea's mom purchased the house, and she didn't know about it, until she was driving by, and they were changing the sign out from Porsha's mom's sign to Shamea's mom's sign, and that's how she found out that her best friend bought her old or daycare that was in foreclosure. Shamea saying that that's not really what happened. That's a portion of it. Like, they weren't speaking for years before that even happened. So let's talk about it. And I want y'all's opinion on this. We can definitely comment. We can discuss this here. I don't know that I would want to purchase an ex-friend's daycare. Even if it was in foreclosure, even if they didn't have the business anymore, I think it's a little too close for comfort because it's always going to be a comparison. And especially if you and that person are already at tension or already have tension, it's not going to read well. And it won't bode well if y'all are trying to grow this relationship. Because my thing is, if you're going to do that, then y'all are officially done. Even if you do have good intentions. Now, let's say she was going to buy the space and give it back to her, Miss Diane. I don't really know what the situation was, but I can understand them having some issues behind that. I truly can. Now, Shamea says that the issue goes deeper than that. That ain't even what the real issue is, and she didn't really want to go into it. My thing is, if that wasn't what the issue was, go ahead and give it to us. Because my thing is, she done told half the story, girl. You might as well go ahead and tell the whole thing, child. Y'all mamas will be all right. They'll be all right, because it seems like they ain't speaking as it is. So go ahead and just tear the whole thing down while you at it, girl. Listen, we would have loved a good watch. That would have been an old nasty way to end this season, baby, going into next season, Shamea. Because, Shamea, you need to get your licks back. Because they was eating you, baby, they were tagging you all up and through this reunion. Now, you could have shut it down with that little piece. Now, I don't know if you ain't want to spray your mama tea or what was going on. But you definitely could have hit us with some of what was going on behind the scenes between the two mamas. I'm just saying, girl, you could have gave us a little bit more. Now, Andy didn't even want to dive into it, but I wish, let me be the interviewer. Please go deeper into this situation. Babe, we need to know what's going on. Give us the tea. Give us what's going on. So, when Andy brings up, them talking behind each other's back, and Porsha was like, no, I wasn't talking behind her back. She was talking behind mine. And, Shamea's like, well, you talked to Britt. You was talking to Britt about me. And even Cynthia jumps in, and Cynthia's like, Shamea, I got to be honest with you. Britt came to Porsha. Porsha wasn't really saying that. She wasn't really too worried about it. And I get what Shamea's coming from. Was like, well, you started hanging with her. You started distancing yourself with me. Shamia, the thing is, and here's where it lies here when it comes to Shamia and Porsha. Nene said this a few reunions back when she was talking to Porsha, and she said, if I did choke somebody, I was smart enough not to do it on camera. Now, Shamia, you might not have had conversations about Porsha directly on camera to these ladies, but you still had it with a bunch of ladies that are on a show, and you had it with multiple women. Had you just had the conversation with your alliance, I think it would have boded well for you. But you went to Angela. You went to Drew. Knowing that you and Drew and Angela had issues anyway, so I don't know why you thought that was the best thing to do. Then, you went to Kelly. You went to Britt, and y'all fell out. So all of these people, and then even Porsha was saying, like, you talked to some of y'all private friend group about what was going on, and it was the same information, and these ladies don't hang out. So you just have to be mindful of who you talking to. You can't give the same information to everybody. You need to have that one venting person that you are going to go to, and you keep your secrets with that one person, if that's what you're going to do. Because it didn't help you the way you went to all of these different ladies. And like I said, although you might not have done it on camera, you still did it, and the ladies brought it on camera. Because Porsha didn't really talk about you on camera the way that it was alluded the way that you talked about her. And, you didn't really deny that you didn't, but you definitely brought up those issues that y'all had. And, when I see Shamia, Andy was asking if there's anything that they would have done differently. And she's like, well, I hate that I talked to these different ladies about her and the way that they went and took it back to Porsha. They would have nothing to take back to her had you not given them any information. That's the thing. And then even Drew's asking, well, why? Because we didn't take anything really back to her. You just kind of gave us, or we didn't ask you to open up to us. You just gave us that information, which just lets us know. And Porsha talked about this later. Like, you're going through these interviews and you're bringing up a lot of the issues, and you're bringing up the information prior. Like, I think it was like 2016 with the Porsha, Kandi, Phaedra, that whole situation. And if you are still bringing that up, it's still harboring resentment with you. And girl, you need to figure that out. I'm not saying that you have to forgive her, but the thing is, you gave everybody the illusion that y'all were good on the front, but you really weren't cool with her on the back end and deep down inside. So that's where the issue came in there. You said that she almost broke up your engagement. Girl, you are married with 2 children, possibly 3, or maybe 1 on the way, if God willing. You have to let it go. You have to figure it out. And the issue is, and I'm so glad that Andy and Cynthia and all of these ladies are telling you, girl, you are trying to sweep things under the rug and trying to make it seem like everything is good, but it's clearly not. And I can say, and I think that this is where, for me, I can understand where Porsha comes from, or I can understand Porsha's stance with this one situation, not with everything, with her viewpoints on how Shamia is handling their friendship right now. I can understand this because I do not like that. If me and you have worked on the issue and we are supposed to be good, let us be good. Don't come to me later if me and you have worked it out, or I'm under the impression that we worked it out and you still have an issue, or I find out that you still have an issue. Because I'm telling you, I will be done. So I can understand the frustration. I can understand where the rift is with them two. And once again, I'm not saying that Porsha is scot-free, because Porsha knew what she was doing. Let's be real. She knew what she was doing. Porsha is seasoned in this game. But that's the thing, though. Porsha was seasoned in this game. Porsha was like, oh, she talking about me? I'm going to show you how we're going to do it. So I think that Shamia she was just a little green when it came to the situation, in my opinion. And she didn't handle it well in the reunion. So there's that. But child, I'm with Andy when they say she has to figure out a way to truly move on. State how you feel. Open up. Let her know how you really feel. Don't worry about her feelings, because sometimes you have some casualties in war when you got to get how you feel out. You do. Sometimes there are going to be some fallout to make sure you whole. Sometimes you got to lose some people. And if you got to lose Porsha to make sure that you whole, then it wasn't a true friendship in the beginning. So you just going to have to get to peace with that and figure out what's really, really going on. Let me see. I done lost where I was at. It was one more thing I want to talk about with that situation. Oh, so when they were talking about, Andy was like, is there one thing that y'all can say to each other? And I think Porsha in that moment, I don't think she's truly done. I think she was just annoyed in the moment. And she was like, she has nothing else. Basically, she has nothing else to give this situation. She is kind of not done, but just done kind of talking about it. And then Shamia, even in that, when Shamia was like, but see, that's the difference. Even when I'm done and I know that I'm at my capacity, I still find the space in the room to like give this situation more. Shamia, that's the issue. Don't give it anymore. You can't give it anymore. You got to let it sit for a minute. Make sure you're whole first and then go back and try to fix that situation later. But girl, you got to make sure you whole first. That's what you got to do. All right. So moving on, we dive into the Drew package. Now, Drew had a good season. Drew had a really, really good season. And the way that Drew navigated this reunion, Drew did a great job. Drew really showed up this season. I think that she handled everything, with the most part, pretty good. Like, I really enjoyed Drew this season. Now, we start talking about her and her package, and we dive into the Ralph and her situation. And just how he handled her. And Ralph is just not a good person. Like, I feel like Ralph has good qualities. He has redeeming qualities about himself. But the way that he handles her and the way that he can manipulate the situation to make himself always look on top, it really is weird to me. And I, for the life of me, do not understand how someone can spend so much time and create beautiful children and want to do their spouse like that. I will never understand that. I pray that I'm never in a situation like that either, because I just don't get how people can let it go that deep. Like him talking about her mom and like mom doing stuff with the dad, and money wise, it was something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but it just wasn't cool. And it was just like, dude, and I'm trying not to cuss on him, but I really want to give him a good country cussing, because he done pissed me off. Yeah, he just wasn't cool. And I think that he's just not thinking about their kids. And speaking of the kids, like, she brought up, like, because they have a video of them cooking or whatever. So when they're cooking and, you know, she's trying to steak and he alleged that she called him daddy. Here's the thing with that, y'all. And I was sitting here watching the reunion and I was like, it makes sense for her to call him daddy or dad or whatever, because they have kids and I'm sure the kids were in the house. And she was like, hey, ask daddy, he's right there. And I'm just thinking that that's how it went. I can see how that can easily go that way. I'm around people who have kids all the time, and the spouse will be like, oh, go ask mommy, go ask daddy, or, you know, ask them that, or hey daddy, can you help little losing Isaiah? But I don't know the children's name, but you can help them. Little Kareem Abdul-Jabbar can go help him or whatever, can go help the people out. So I can understand that happening. So I don't, even if she did say it, she ain't trying to get back with him. Child, he can move on. So, someone asked Andy one of the questions about like the court order and basically why the judge kind of set them up for the worst situation, not being able to talk to the kids about the divorce, and also kind of forcing them to still be in the same space. And even Porsha, which I appreciated Porsha in this moment, just extending the hand to Drew, just let him know, like, hey, that is true. Like, that happens. When I went through my divorce with Cordell, she was saying that she was upstairs, you know, he was downstairs. So those things are common and it does happen. Y'all, I just realized I ain't got my laptop plugged in. Hold on, y'all. And I ain't gonna edit this out either. We're gonna keep this thing rocking. I was wondering why I kept going low. All right, there we go. So I think that it's understandable, right? You want to be in the house. It can possibly save you money, but both of y'all stay in the house. If you can make it work, try to make it work. You know, but Drew was saying that, you know, he has been bringing people over to the house. And Porsha was like, I don't know why that was so funny. And, like, that's the fun-loving Porsha. Porsha is the fun girl. Like, Porsha is the girl that I look at for the fun, like, brings the youthful energy. And to me, when it comes to casting Real Housewives, I feel like they're starting to skew a little younger. And I think that they need to go older, and Porsha just, if we're going to cast it, right? Let's talk about casting. We're going to get back to these notes, but we on the subject of casting. Let's talk about it. My cast. Who I'm going to keep. So I'm going to keep some of the cast, keep some of them. and then we're going to get rid of some. So I'm keeping Porsha. I'm keeping Shamia. I'm keeping Drew. Let me back up on Drew. I'm keeping Porsha. I'm keeping Shamia. I'm keeping Angela. Keeping Phaedra. Keeping Cynthia. Give me Kenya. Give me Nene. Give me Kimzolciak. Give me Kandi, because we need Kandi and the gang in there. I'll take Kelly, and I'll take Drew. I'll take Kelly and Drew too. I'll keep them too, and just add some of those other people in the cast, so it can be like the talls against the smalls, like this is the elderly versus the younger girls. I just kind of want that dynamic, that fun, the funness versus the more seasoned women as well. Like I think that's a good dynamic for us to have. Me and my friend Demetrius was having this conversation about who we would cast, and we were agreeing that we think that Trina Braxton or one of the Scott sisters from Escape will be a great addition to Real Housewives of Atlanta as well. So, listen, hit my boy up, hit Demetrius up, baby, over there. The Real Housewives people, Bravo people, hit him up, baby. He can cast the show. He can be a producer. He'll have it all going on. Make sure you hit my boy up. But back to this. So, they were asking Drew about the PJ comment. They asked her about the PJ comment or whatever, and Drew said she didn't mean it that way. And they asked Porsha, like, when you saw it played back, did it hit the same way? Did you think that she was being shady and nasty? And then Porsha even says, like, hey, it was a little cringe. I do think it was a cringy situation, but it didn't hit me as hard as when Shamia said it. And Shamia, you know, she's done at this point. She said, baby, that's on y'all. If y'all like it, I love it. I'm staying out of it. She said, baby, this ain't got nothing to do with me. So, and then Drew was like, that's good. I'm glad that you're staying out. So, I think that Shamia taking it, I think that too, Shamia allowed too many conversations to be had outside not on camera. I don't know why she had so many conversations off camera, and not on camera. Some of these things she definitely should have had on camera, because it's like, we don't really know how you took it back, because we really didn't see it. And I could be wrong. I just don't remember seeing that on camera. I could be wrong. I don't know. But yeah. So but real talk, I felt like Drew was being a little shady. In my opinion, she was being shady. So I agree with Shamia. I think she was being shady. Y'all ain't gonna do my girl like that. She was definitely being shady. So Andy was asking Drew about Porsha and Shamia meeting up with Ralph, and you know how she felt about that, and it wasn't cool. You know, Porsha apologized for that at the top on part one of the reunion, so we ain't gonna dive on that too long. But it was definitely shady. Now, the one thing though, Shamia, when you kept bringing up she kept calling me a lapdog, so I'm gonna be a lapdog in this moment. Girl, don't do that to yourself. I'm with Angela. Don't do it to yourself. You can ride for your girl. You can support your girl, but you're not a lapdog. Like, you can stand on your own. You have done it. Don't do that to yourself. And I'm with Angela. Baby, my lap too big. I know that's right. She said, baby, I'm too big to be in anybody's lap. I know that's right, Angela. And girl, that's why we love you. That is definitely why we love us some Angela. So, the next topic of conversation when it comes to Drew, they were asking her about Black, which, for those who aren't familiar with Black, you know, he's from New Orleans. He has like she said, I didn't realize it was the number one in the world, but he has the number one, like, hookah company, and he has, like, a lot of, like, nicotine-free, I don't know if it's all natural, don't quote me on this allegedly, I don't really know, but he has a lot of really cool products. Like, I looked up his stuff, really cool. And her dating him. Y'all know who I thought he was actually dating? One, I thought he was married, but that's neither here nor there. I really thought he was dating Tamar Braxton, allegedly. I'm just saying, they actually were together recently, but I thought that they were possibly dating. I've really never seen him with Drew, but I don't live in Atlanta, so I don't know. But I could see him and Tamar possibly having a little thing. I think that would be kind of cute. But Drew denies it. She said that she is not with him. She's not dating him. That's her friend, baby. And she said the hot dog man ain't her type. And Porsha said, baby, Black ain't no looker either. I know that's right, Porsha. See, when Porsha get them good quips in, it's good. And I like her and Drew going back and forth, because the way they spar with each other, it's funny. It's funny and fun, because Drew was like, well, I have tea on Porsha dating an African and Buckhead. And Porsha was like, who was it? It was African? Girl, yeah, that was me. That all found to me. And it's so funny. Like, those are those moments we miss. And I feel like that's why a character like neneleakes is missed, because we need somebody that can throw those just quick, funny one-liners in there just to give us what we need, right? To give us definitely what we need. I don't know what's going on over there. But yeah. So I love that. I love that segment between them. And I love that it didn't go too deep between her and Porsha. Like, it was just fun shade. Like, that's fun shade. It was a good time. It was cute. It was a good, cute kiki. So after the ladies have that segment, we see the guys, and the guys are getting ready to come out. And we have Dennis, we have Ralph, and we have Charles, the enforcer, baby. But we don't have Shamia's husband. He's not there. He didn't make it. He's at home with the kids, like she said. So he wasn't able to make it. He gives me that he's not really going to be really big on filming or wanted to be a part of like the cast like that. I think he's more so doing it for his wife, which is okay. And Gerald, that's his name. And I don't really see him giving us too much anyway. So I'm cool with him like kind of being out of it. Like, it's cool with me when it comes to that. Now, let's talk about this Porsha stuff. And Porsha, Dennis, Ralph, and Drew. We talked about this. We already know. I don't think that neither one of them were really trying to get with each other. I do kind of think that Dennis alluded to it a little bit when he was talking to Porsha. Not sure why. But I do think that kind of happened a little bit. And then Ralph even confirmed it. But what is that? Who is that for us to trust? So I don't really know if I believe all of that. I just felt like it was stupid. It was childish. I don't think it was that deep. Now, what I did think was funny, and Miss Kelly, girl, you showed your slip, because, you know, you made those comments about Dennis being in your DMs. Here's the thing, Kelly. You threw shade back then, and Dennis was like, well, she only talked about half of the DMs. She ain't talked about all of it. And she was like, well, what's the rest of it? And then she was like, we ain't never met up. We ain't never did this. We ain't even talked on the phone. We did talk on the phone a couple of times. And Angela was like, well, then y'all talked on the phone. So it's like, Kelly, you can't have it both ways, mama. Did you or did you not talk to this man? And he was like, well, we talked, but it was only about business. See, now you're trying to change the story. And now I'm believing a little bit more of what Dennis has said, because in the beginning, you put it out there like this man was in your DMs trying to get with you. Then you're going to try to double back and say, oh, but we were just talking about business. Girl, which one was it? You can't have it both ways. And I feel like if he would have dropped them DMs, it'd probably give us a little something allegedly. But child, don't do that. Don't backpedal. You stand 10 toes down in it, because you got caught up. See, that's the thing. You can never win when you play dirty. You got caught up trying to be shady, be quick with it, and you got caught up. You should have just been honest and just sat over there with that big old dress. Now, we get into Ralph and Drew getting into a child, and eventually he gets to the point where he says that he wants to have the conversation with Drew's mom and he wants to apologize to her. And I think that Porsha gave him some very sound advice. Like, when it comes to those divorce situations, you got to do what's best for the kids. And your moms are going to be your rocks, right? Like, those are the people that you lean on when they brought you into this world. Like, if you have them still, you definitely want to rely on them. You definitely want to lean on them. So I agree with her. Like, y'all make it work between both sets of moms if you still have them, because that's what's important. Like, y'all are going to need them. Your village still needs to be intact, even though you're going through a tough situation. So Porsha gave them great advice there. Now, Ralph, when you showed your slip too, when you talking about some, I never had her in my house. And then Portia's like, well, hold on, because which one was it? Well, I mean, yes, she did come over, but she didn't come in the house. We were talking about fitness. See, one thing, y'all be telling on yourself because y'all doing too much talking. Just give the people what they need. If you go ahead and give the people what they need, you ain't even got to worry about it no more. That's y'all problem. Y'all not owning it. And child, enough about all of that. Let's get into the star of the show, baby. Them Oakleys. Baby, them Oakleys are here to stay. I loved the way the Oakleys handled this reunion. I think that Charles came in and he held everybody accountable. I think that Charles was just like, hey, Shamil, well, you know, me and you met a couple times. He said, just because you met me, that don't mean that you know me. Or just because you were in the same space as me doesn't mean that you know me. So he was holding them accountable. He got Shamil together. He got Phaedra together. Did he get Kelly? I can't remember. I think he got Kelly together a little bit too. But he was definitely just, baby, going down the line, knocking heads off the shoulders. He was getting the girls together. Give him a peach, baby. We ain't had a husband this spicy since Peter, baby. We love it. But it was just great, like, hearing him talk. Now, Angela, you and him should have talked about that Wendy Williams situation a little bit more, because he said, well, I mean, if that's what it is, he said he was going to go have a glass of wine with her. Now, Angela, you seem like you wasn't too cool with that, because he said he would have went, but she had cats. And he was like, well, I like wine, she like wine. And I don't think that he was going to do anything. I just think that he was just like, I don't understand what the big deal is. She invited me over for wine. I like wine. Let's go have a little glass of wine. It ain't that deep. I don't think he wants that lady like that. But it just was funny because she was like, well, as a date, and he was like, man, whatever you want to call it. I can see how being with somebody like Charles is frustrating, because you'll be like, dude, hush, you doing too much talking. But I think Charles did such a great job. And then, when he spoke about her mom, who's no longer with us, and the apology that she stated, and Andrew said something so beautiful, that her mom can now live on forever through everybody's homes. And that was so, so, so beautiful. And yeah, I just really, really enjoyed the Oakleys this season, and I really hope they come back, because they did a great job. They talk about the struggles that they had in their relationship, and he even talked about how he used to date Sheree, which I knew that, he used to date Sheree, and I love the way that Angela said it, because, sometimes a spouse can throw some shady moments, and she was like, no, have been women who aren't over Charles, and she was like, she's not one of them. Like, not Shamia Lord. Sheree is not one of them. She's not one of those women. She's like, and I don't think that he has anything for her, but they were cool. Now, when she was asking him questions about, like, how they dated, I thought that was a little weird. But other than that, pretty good. They did really good this season. I think that they did a really good job overall. So that just brings us to the closing of the season, the closing remarks. We in church, the closing remarks. And, everybody kind of has a little thing that they're saying. And, Kelly was saying that, I lost my friendship with Britt, but Shamia and Porsha, I really want y'all to get back there. And hearing them talk to each other as well, they love each other. There is love there. I think that we can all see it, that there is love there. I think that they just need to come to the table, lay out what those issues are, and move forward. Shamia, if you still feel some angst about how she handled your wedding situation, you have to figure out before you go to her what can happen to make you whole, because we can't go back, right? We can't go back. She can't go back in time and fix that. Figure out what she needs to do so that she can do those action items to get you to the other side of this friendship. Porsha, you need to be willing to hear this girl out and allow this girl to get her true feelings out. You're going to have to hear it out. And Porsha, be open to it. Just be open to it. Don't go in there with no shade. Don't go in there sassy. Don't go in there trying to be quick-witted and all that boop-de-boo. No. Go in there, have that honest conversation with that girl so y'all can move forward and y'all can grow this friendship. And y'all, the season ended with everybody clacking them fans. I thought that was cute. And that was it. That was it, y'all. We have finished season 16. That is a wrap on season 16 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I'm going to say I enjoyed reviewing the show. I think it was I think the season was pretty good overall. Like, it was good to see Porsha back. It was good to see a lot of these new, fresh faces. I truly, truly enjoyed Angela. I think Angela was the perfect addition. I was a little nervous at first, but she won me over at the end, and so good overall. So, I enjoyed this season. I think, y'all, because I need something else to review. I think I'm going to get into Love and Marriage Huntsville. I think that comes out on Fridays, and I think they're 2 episodes in, so I can quickly try to catch up on that. So I'm going to try to dive into Love and Marriage Huntsville, and maybe Real Housewives of OC. I don't know how far they are into it as well. So I'm going to try to do 2 shows, try to get into 2 more shows, and so we got some content over here. But with that being said, I appreciate y'all. Until next time, I'll see you later, everybody.